Welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner, where we get you caught up on all Roadrunner sports. We're here at the Tivoli Tap House every Monday live, so make sure you're here at 5:30 to hang out with us and with a few MSU Denver coaches and players as well. I'm Celeste, Zubia, along with my co-host today, Tafoya. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Good to be here, filling in for Stephen Priest. So it's a good time to be here, and I'm ready to get this shindig on the road.
Yeah, me too. So, Sean, tell us who's going to be on the show tonight.
All right, so first off, we're going to have women's basketball, the always awesome coach Tanya Haave, and then we're going to have Daniel Hangsteffer, the tennis coach. His team just got underway in a new season. Then we'll have the English-born, New Zealand-raised Tabitha Porter. We're going to talk about her journey to the Mile High City, her thoughts on the tennis team, and so we'll get the in-depth look at Tabitha a little later on in the show.
I'm excited for that, and I'm also excited for Coach Haave. You know, they had a big weekend beating Regis, so I'm excited to see what she has to say. But before we bring in the 7th-year head coach, let's get the audience caught up on what happened this weekend with some Roadrunner sports. We'll start with men's basketball, and they made it 3 straight wins and a blowout victory over Chadron State at home. Brian Howard knocked down 4 of 5 from beyond the arc to score a game-high 22 points. But the red and blue dropped a heartbreaker the following night as Regis University hit a shot right at the final buzzer to win by 2.
The women kept the good times rolling, coming up with a couple of important conference wins at home. Georgia Ordorf exploded for a career-high 27 points in the 74-66 win over Chadron State. The junior, who was also named to the 2016-2017 RMAC Academic Player of the Year, hit 11 of 20 from the field and also grabbed 12 rebounds. After a thrilling victory against Regis the following night, Coach Haave's squad have now won 6 of 7 games and are just 1 game back of hosting a playoff game in the RMAC tournament.
Let's hit the track for some indoor track and field news. The team competed at the Adams State University Open in Alamosa. Ryan Boucher placed 8th in the 800 meters. Robert Carlson jumped to a 3rd place finish in the long jump, and Rachel Shimabuku-Rowe finished in the 5th spot in the mile. Visit roadrunnersathletics.com to find out how the rest of the squad did in the meet. So now we are joined by the women's head coach, Tanya Haave. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good, thank you. I'm sure it's always a fun Monday when you can get 2 wins in the weekend.
Oh, yes. Always much better. Practice also goes much better. The mood of the player is much better. Mood of the coaches is a lot better also, so it's a fun Monday.
Yeah, I bet. So in the first game of the weekend, Chadron State came to town, and your defense held them to just 15 points in the first half, and they may have relied a little bit too much on the 3-point shot. They jacking up 11 attempts. How were you able to slow down the Eagles?
We just really had a lot of good ball pressure. We had them scouted fairly well. I think they were just a little bit off, in terms of shooting. We were able to allow them to have 1 shot. Then I think we kind of lost focus a little bit offensively, then allowed them to come back in the game in the second half. Like I said, we were ahead 19-4, and then they went on this run. We had some turnovers. I think sometimes you get that far ahead, you could lose focus, and then you think things are too easy. But I think while I wasn't so thrilled with the way we struggled, I'm really happy with the way we found a way out of it, worked ourselves out of it to get the victory.
So Callie Feddersen, one of the top players in the RMAC, in that game, she ended up getting 2 quick fouls and had to watch the majority of the first half on the bench. Never really seemed like she got going in that game. How did that play a part in your success?
Well, I think that, we obviously knew she was a key in not having her. Any team that goes without their player, and she's kind of their leader. She runs their team, she scores, she rebounds. So yeah, that was huge for them. But then they found a way to work through it. I thought Collins, number 32, had a really big game for them. She's got hot and scored well, and so then I think she took up a little bit of that slack. But again, I think it was. I was more focused on what we were doing and what we weren't doing. I don't get too concerned about who's in and out for them. But she was definitely someone that was a key.
So the Eagles scored 28 points in the 3rd quarter and ended up tying the game at the end of the 3rd quarter. How were you guys able to come out of that and win in the 4th quarter?
I think we just stayed with it. We never lost our composure. We hit some shots, got some stops here and there, got them to turn the ball over. But again, I think the other factor, the bigger factor probably in that game was when they went to the zone. They were man-to-man all that first quarter. The rest of the game they were in a zone. We haven't seen a zone in over a month. I think it took us a while to get used to, if shots aren't falling, how are we going to get shots? I think we panicked a little bit when the three-pointer wasn't falling because they'd gone to that zone from the second quarter on. So we found our rhythm. We found the way to get the ball inside, get some shots, get to the line, and I think it eventually wore them down. But I think it took us 2 quarters to adjust to that zone up there because we hadn't seen it in so long, a zone.
So Georgia Ordorf in that game, she piled on a career high 27 points. 19 of those were in the second half. She was telling us last time she was on the coach's corner that you took a chance on her despite never seeing her play before she came. How good was her performance versus Shadron, and was this the player that you envisioned in Georgia when you brought her to Denver?
Oh, absolutely. She's grown so much. I mean, Georgia had a really great freshman year, and she was the freshman of the year in the conference, got voted the first team all-conference preseason her sophomore year. I felt like physically she had to adapt to the American game her freshman year. Her sophomore year was a tough one for her from a mental and emotional standpoint because I probably was on her all year long. But I could see, seeing bigger picture, trying to get her through that, get her through the grind, get her tougher, get her a little bit more consistent, and all that is starting to pay off now. These last, since Christmas, these last 6 weeks, she's been so consistent. Even if we're off or she might be off, she's still been one of our more consistent players on both ends of the floor, along with Jalen Smith. So it's been really nice to see her be able to do that. I know it's really nice for her. She's a perfectionist. She's probably harder on herself than I might be. So it's really nice to see. And so yes, the long-winded answer to your question is yes, this is what I kind of envisioned for her.
Perfect.
So you guys took on Regis the next night here at home, and it was back and forth all night, and we would talk about Ordorf and Squires Horton, who had 24 points that night. But how did you feel seeing Wellington come off the bench and score some big time buckets, and as well as Whitwer, and kind of just have those players as well as Ordorf and Squires Horton?
Well, it was just fantastic to see Michaela Gonzalez, Bree Wellington, Johnny Whitwer, all those girls, because people are going to start keying on Georgia or Jaylin, or Jaylin had foul trouble that night. We were able to win the game with basically without her playing a lot of minutes, or Janae Squires. But Janae Squires, I thought, really took over the game in that first half when we were without Jay, and I thought for the majority of the night she was the best player on the floor. But then to have Bree and Michaela be able to complement that really makes a difference. It's going to take some pressure off of Georgia, and it's just going to make us deeper, and people can't key on us. So if you're going to leave someone open, then that's just really great to see Bree make those contributions, and along with Michaela making those contributions.
So Michaela Gonzalez was big for you over the weekend. She came into the weekend averaging about 4 points per game, but she had 10 points in both games, and also being very efficient in doing so, going 10 for 12. So she's starting to figure things out as you guys, go along more this season.
Yeah, she's getting more comfortable in the system, and with that comfort level, the confidence that you had mentioned. So she is getting more confident, and she's one of our more aggressive post defenders because she has some college experience. She was at a junior college last year. So yeah, it's perfect timing for her to be able to start feeling that comfort level on both ends of the floor.
And she's a sophomore, but this is the first year under your direction. Where did you find her, and big picture, kind of where do you see her? What kind of player do you see her becoming over the next couple of years?
She's from Castle View High School in Colorado. She went to Western Nebraska as a junior in a junior college. Her high school coach called us up last spring and said, she's interested in coming to Metro. Would you be interested? Yeah. So she came and visited. So she found us. Okay. But I'm glad she did find us. I've known about her. I've been watching her play since she was a freshman, actually, and always had liked her as a player. I like her more as a person than I do as a player, and that's not downplaying how she is as a player at all. She's just a really great teammate. She's fit in so well with us, and I see her being a major contributor for the next 2 years. I'm glad she's a sophomore. Like I said, she's really taken to the system, very coachable, and like I said, a great teammate. So I think she'll be a solid contributor for us in the post or even on the perimeter. With getting some Emily and Danielle back next year in the post, I could see her helping out even on the perimeter for us, developing her perimeter game.
All right, Coach, last question. So this team is now 6 for 7 in the last 7 games. Are you guys playoff ready, and what do you hope to see from your team with only 3 games remaining?
Just to build on what we've been doing. I mean, really, with that little blip in South Dakota, we should have a 7-game win streak. We don't, but I think we've got a tough game on Saturday night, senior night, UCCS on our home floor. They'll be wanting to pay us back, I'm sure, for winning on their home floor, but there's not a game left on our schedule that I don't think we can be successful at. So, and I think our players are believing that. So just keeping with that intensity, the consistency on both ends of the floor, and keeping our composure, and just getting a little bit better. You don't want to get a lot. You don't need to get a lot better every day, but if you get just a little bit better every day, then we'll be where we need to be. So I'm excited about the direction that we're going, the mindset of our team.
Awesome, Coach. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. As always, it is a pleasure to have you here, and we wish you the best of luck this Saturday against UCCS. So do not go anywhere, because we have the tennis head coach, Daniel Hangsteffer, up next.
Dobinson stops on a dime, now to Cortez. The Cortez beating, count the bucket, and foul.
If you can't get enough of MSU Denver sports, then you need to tune in to the Roadrunner Review. Get into the game with exclusive highlights, interviews, player stories, and of course the top plays that will have you jumping out of your seat. You can catch all the action on Comcast CET and at RoadrunnersAthletics.com.
Hey, nice shot! Great spot!
I'm Joe Rice. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Lockheed Martin Space Systems. I transferred into MSU Denver while I was in the Colorado National Guard and after I completed my associate's degree. This was the only university where somebody actually sat down with me and helped me plan out my academic path to finish my degree and graduate on time. Reach for the stars, come to MSU Denver, launch your career.
Brought to you by your #1 volume Nissan dealer, Tynan's Nissan. Come in today and choose from nearly 1,200 new Nissans. Get 0% for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. During the Bottom Line event, lease the new Altima for only $149 per month. Gives you both efficiency and performance. Looking for an SUV? Then choose the all-wheel drive Rogue at just $159 per month. Also available with optional third-row seats. Bottom Line savings at Tynan's Nissan in Aurora and Fort Collins.
I'm Raquel Torres, senior guard for the women's basketball team.
Winners, and there's Torres, 3-point shot up and
oh, there it goes.
Raquel Torres, the trifecta.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Andre Harris, senior center for the Roadrunners men's basketball team.
And here's Andre Harris with the jam, bobbing and weaving through traffic.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Thanks for sticking around here on the Coach's Corner, and we have to tell you about the MSU Denver Mug Club featured by the Tivoli Tap House. The official launch for the event is on February 18th, so this Saturday, and it's a great way to contribute to scholarships for the Roadrunner students, student athletes, and to the Alumni Association. As a member, you'll receive, sorry, I lost my spot. As a member, you'll receive an MSU Denver Tivoli mug featuring the Roadrunners logo, and you'll get $1 off any Tivoli Brewing Company beer, $2 off any Tivoli Beer and Company beer during an MSU Denver sponsored event and happy hours. So a fantastic event, and you can sign up for this awesome club at TivoliBreweryCO.com. Now we are joined by the tennis head coach for the Roadrunners, Daniel Hangsteffer. Thanks so much for being with us today, Coach.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So for a team that plays the majority of their games outdoors, how much of a luxury has it been to have this incredible weekend, or this incredible weather to practice during the week?
It's been great. We had, I think, 75, almost 80-degree weather last Friday, and I think we've gone indoors about 5 times so far. So it's been a great, nice to have great weather like this. So definitely helping us out.
All right, so the RMAC just came out with its preseason poll not that long ago. We'll start with the men's team. They were picked to finish in a tie with CSU Pueblo. Both Josh Grates and Joey Sherney were selected to the All-RMAC preseason team. Just give us some of your thoughts on those guys and the men's team heading into this brand new tennis season.
So I'm very excited about the men's team and the women's team, but we're talking about the men right now. The men, Josh has been with us for 4 years. He was medical redshirted last year, so he'll be able to come back next year. Excited to have him back on board this year. He's been a great player for us. He's broken some school records. Joey had a fantastic year last year as a freshman. Lefty guy, big serve, big game. So they're playing doubles together too. So I'm excited to see how they do.
So Josh was tabbed the RMAC's preseason player of the year. He's been a part of this program since 2013. What makes Josh such a force to be given such high honors before the season even starts?
So Josh, he's very mentally tough. He's a very smart player, very determined. He fights for every single ball, and he never gives up. And for a lot of players to have somebody who just keeps coming after you, that puts a lot of pressure on opponents. So I think that's a big reason why he's a force. So and a lot of players have seen him play for the last 3 years, and they really respect that, and a lot of coaches respect that. So,
all right. So now let's shift our focus to those ladies that you previously mentioned to. They were picked to finish second in the RMAC, right behind Colorado Mesa. You have a couple of spectacular juniors leading the way, in Emily Kerr and Courtney Wright. How are they looking heading into their new season?
They're looking very well. Emily and Courtney actually they've had a fantastic fall together as doubles team and singles. We went down to the ITA regional tournament last fall, and they had a great showing there. They lost in doubles. They lost to the team that won the tournament and went on to nationals and placed top 8 at nationals. But they were beating that team. They were up on them, and just got a little bit tight at a key moment and a key point, and unfortunately it didn't go our way. But if Courtney and Emily are playing well together in doubles, they can beat anybody in the country. It is really exciting to see. In singles, I'm very excited to see them compete again in singles. We have a lot of freshmen, one you'll see tonight, and we've added 4 freshmen, and they bring a lot of depth to our team. So very, very excited about the women's team.
So how do you as a head coach teach your kids to deal with these high expectations that the RMAC has placed on them during the preseason?
That comes in practice every day, comes in weights every morning, comes in to conditioning sessions every time that we have conditioning, by me setting high standards. We have high standards in the classroom. Our goal is to get a 3.3 team GPA. The women reached that last fall, and I think that they will reach it again this spring. We have a goal to get 200 community service hours as a team each year. And so it starts with having high expectations on a day in, day out basis. And so when it comes to the RMAC, they're already prepared to handle it.
All right, so later on the show we'll have Tabitha Porter with us. She's a freshman from Norwich, England, lived in New Zealand. So we have to ask you, were you vacationing abroad and just happened to stumble upon a tennis court and found this young woman playing tennis and decided, hey, let's sign her up for a scholarship to come play tennis, or was it a little bit simpler than that?
Actually, I think she may have emailed me out of the blue, and then I emailed her back, and then just it kind of went from there. So, there were about 2 or 3 girls that I was really trying to decide whether it was going to be her or somebody else, and I really kept going back to Tabitha because her grace and just the way that she spoke to me about really wanting to compete at a high level, and it just turned out to be a great fit. So I'm very, very happy and glad that it worked out because she's a fantastic person to have on the program.
So you see a lot of international recruiting in the sport of tennis. How important is it to compete at this level at Division II with those type of recruits, and do you personally go out and find those type of athletes?
So tennis, just to give you all some background, tennis more than any other college sport has more internationals in tennis than any other sport in college. I think it's something like 70%, somewhere around there, of college tennis players are internationals. So we have, I think, 4 internationals on the women's team and 3 on the men's team. I carry 9 on both sides. So I have a lot of Americans when you compare it to other programs. So yes, we do go out and recruit internationally because we have to.
Why don't you tell us what's up next for the tennis team here?
So the men play this Saturday. I'm drawing a blank right now. They play Southern Utah, and then the weekend after that they play Air Force, both Division I programs, and then our first D2 match is on March 3rd. We're playing Colorado Mesa, so that'll be interesting. I'm excited about that.
Well, we're going to end that right here. Thanks so much, Coach, for coming on the show. I believe it was your first time. So
second time.
Second time. Glad you can join us, and we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully the weather stays nice so you guys can get ready for conference play.
Appreciate it. Thank
you. Do not go anywhere because we will keep up the tennis talk with freshman Tabitha Porter coming up next.
And the celebration is on for Mike Dunlap.
The Skyhawks celebrate a second national title in program history.
And the winner of the 2006 Harlan Hill Trophy as Division II College Football Player of the Year is Danny Woodhead from Chadron State.
ASU! 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 What do we got?
Are you a college student that needs a place to live? Are you still living with your parents and want your own space? The Regency Student Housing is perfect for you. The community offers many amenities such as a fitness center, 2 basketball courts, big screen amphitheater, all-you-can-eat dining hall, bowling alley, arcade, free parking, and a shuttle to and from the Auraria campus. For more information, please call 303-477-1950 or visit our website at regencystudenthousing.com.
I'm Lexi Marr, senior defender for the Roadrunners women's soccer team.
These teams looking for offense, and there's Marr, the all-conference defender.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
So glad you guys are back with us, and remember to follow MSU Denver Athletics Twitter at Metro State Sports, where we update you guys on scores, events, players, and give you highlights from the Roadrunner sports team. Sean Tafoya and Celeste Zubia back with you guys, and say hello to Tabitha Porter from the women's tennis team. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now you come from Norwich, England. Tell us how you ended up here in Denver, Colorado.
Well, I always knew that I wanted to try and get like a scholarship in the States to play tennis. And I thought, like Denver's like a very active state, and city, but like within the state, and I've never seen snow before. Well, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty neat, and I just really like the idea of being Colorado.
Awesome.
So you kind of mentioned the Skype calls and the back and forth communication between you and Coach Hangsteffer. What are some of the things about MSU Denver and about Coach that convinced you to come to MSU Denver?
Well, we Skyped once, I think, only once, and he was just like really honest with me, and he didn't because I could tell with other coaches if they weren't being completely honest. So with him, I did a lot of research about MSU and Denver and what it has to offer, and I think the biggest thing for me is being from Auckland and in the city. Denver's very similar, being downtown all the time. I thought that's pretty neat because still active and whatnot. So
So have you ever been to the United States before, and how hard was your transition from coming here, or coming from there to here, and just being so far away from home?
It is a very far journey, not gonna lie. But to be honest, it's not overly different. The only thing that I've picked up on is the food. Very different. Tastes quite sweet. That's
really
the only thing. And just the people are super nice. Very out there. They're not afraid to say their opinion and whatnot. So overly not different, but it's pretty neat. Yeah.
So you mentioned the food. We were talking about Twitter earlier. Let's talk about those differences. What are some of the other major differences that stood out to you? The music. You said that you were near the beach in New Zealand. Now you're up at altitude. What have been the main differences?
Oh altitude was a tough one. I remember when I got here and I was moving in, and I didn't want to wait in line for the elevator, so I just took the stairs, 2 flights of stairs, and I was struggling to breathe so hard. And then I hit with Coach. The second day I was here, and I just had to act like it didn't fit me. I was this is fine.
No big deal.
Deep down, I was I've lost a lung. It was hard. But yeah, I think altitude is a big thing. Just staying like hydrated because your skin goes so dry, it's awful. Yeah, so altitude's actually a really good one. Yeah.
So your profile at roadrunnersathletics.com says that you have a major in biology and a minor in anthropology. What do you hope to do with that after graduation?
Yes, I've just chosen to double minor actually now in chemistry and anthropology. I like to go back home and do like pre-vet care and whatnot. In the long run, I would really like to go abroad to like Thailand and Southeast Asia and like do a lot of animal rehabilitation effort and rescue the ones that need us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks.
All right, so being an international player, how has the team kind of embraced you? And also having Emily Kerr, who's also from England, how does she kind of help easing into that transition?
Oh yeah, the girls have been so good. Like, I love them to bits. They're so lovely. We've got how many internationals? I think like nearly half the team internationals. You've got Anna from Serbia and Emily from England, Lin Ying, my doubles partner from China. And yeah, they've been through the experience beforehand, so they definitely helped me transition to coming here and whatnot. So yeah, they've been great. And yeah, I remember the first night I came, they invited me over for crepes, which was really sweet. Yeah, so yeah, it's good.
So being a tennis player, do you have any favorite professional tennis players? Anyone that you maybe emulate your game after?
To be honest, I don't really have a favorite pro player, but I would say my game's quite similar to Radwanska, like a baseline player. I don't see myself as very aggressive. I kind of just grind it out on the baseline and stick in the point. So yeah, but I do probably her the best.
Yeah.
Radwanska, yeah.
Well, Tabitha, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We wish you the best of luck this spring season. So before we call it a show, we will tell you guys what's coming up with Roadrunner Sports. The monthly Roadrunner Luncheon is taking place this Tuesday at the Spring Hill Suites in downtown Denver. All the Roadrunner coaches in season will be there to talk about their teams, and it will start at noon. The indoor track and field team will head to Colorado Springs to take part in the Air Force Academy Collegiate Open Meet that will take place this Friday. And then on Saturday, the squad will head to Golden for the Colorado School of Mines Joe Davies Open in Golden.
The softball team will continue their road trip this weekend as they'll head to San Antonio, Texas to compete in the St. Mary's tournament. They'll kick the tourney off against the University of Central Oklahoma and then against St. Mary on Friday. The basketball teams will be home this weekend just for one on Saturday with battles against UC Colorado Springs. The women game will tip off at 5 o'clock while the men's will start at 7:30 as Comcast will be there as well to broadcast both of those games.
So remember, you can keep up with all of these teams at roadrunnersathletics.com, and that wraps up another edition of the Coaches Corner here at the Tap House. We just want to thank Coach Haave, Coach Hangsteffer, and Tabitha Porter so much for being on the show. For Eric Lansing, Tafoya, and Celeste Zubia, we'll see you guys next week.